everybody, this is Justin from Spud Inc. Today we got a special Ustream video for you. Today we're going to be going over compression wrapping. A lot of you that received our newsletter probably got to see, we were talking about a little bit of recovery work, stuff like that in our newsletter. So this video is going to be a little bit of a follow-up about that. A lot of the compression techniques that I'm going to be showing today are going to be good for some prehab stuff and a little bit of rehab stuff. If you have some nagging injuries that have been bugging you for a little bit, by using these techniques you'll really be able to start kind of knocking those out of the way a little bit. So just kind of give you a quick little overview of what we're going to do today. I'm going to go through and I'm going to show some stuff on how to treat the ankle, just some really basic compression techniques with those. Then we're going to move on to some upper body stuff. I have Dale, who's going to be our demonstrator for us today.
I'll be the mummy.
He's going to be the mummy. And the reason why I'm using him is because I know with a lot of bigger guys out there, and even some of the smaller guys and women, one of the big issues that a lot of people have is with the shoulders, elbows, and wrist. I've been hearing a lot about this lately. People are talking about how the squats are giving them trouble because of that. First piece of advice on that: if you're suffering from a lot of elbow, wrist, and shoulder pain while you're squatting, start looking at what kind of bar you're using. If you're constantly using a straight bar, that's your body's way of telling you you need to go get a specialty bar to relieve a little bit of pressure on that shoulder. Because what happens is, by forcing out into an extreme external rotation all the time, where you're back like this trying to get underneath that bar, puts a lot of pressure on the shoulder, which over time the shoulders just can't take it anymore, so then it transfers to the elbow, and then from the elbow it goes to the wrist, so on and so forth. Also, the wrists get a lot of pressure from heavy benching and stuff like that. That's a lot of weight bearing down on that wrist, so over time all it takes is just a quick little like that, and you can set something out of place inside that wrist. Or a lot of times what happens is, by the time we get those really tight wrist wraps on, that, you know how you get that, I call it the claw hand. Once you get your wrist wraps on really tight, it's putting pressure on your corporals, and all it takes is just squeezing that bar super tight, and you can actually move a corporal the wrong way inside your hand, and of course that'll end up causing wrist pain as well. So we're also going to show how you can set those corporals back in place. Something that I do a couple times every week, even if my wrist isn't bothering me, I go through and I'll have someone wrap my hand for me and my wrist, and I'll start messing around with them to get those corporals set back in place. And then we're going to mess with the shoulders a little bit. I'm also going to show a really awesome technique that you can do. Say you're having some pec minor issues, or you've had a pec minor tear or strain. This technique that I'm going to show you is something that can really help alleviate that issue, and if there is a small tear inside there, it'll help speed that healing process up a little bit. So first thing we're going to do, like I said, is we're going to go over ankles. I got two different ankle techniques that I'm going to show you guys. The first one that we're going to do today is I'm going to use the Spud Inc. Mummy compression band. A really simple technique. This is something I do before I squat and I deadlift, a little bit of prehab stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Dale just slide his foot up here, and I'm actually going to slide back to where I'm just barely on that heel, because I want to be able to get right here on that ankle and across the midfoot. You got a hole in your sock, by the way.
I know, I told you I should have worn my good socks.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to start right here at the midfoot. I'm going to come around. The reason why I'm starting here is, you'll notice as I'm wrapping, I'm going to try going upward with my first few wraps. I'm going to come down, coming around that foot. Now I'm going to come across. This is why I wanted to make sure that I could get to that spot. I'm going to come right across that Achilles and catch that ankle. Then we're going to do the same on this side, catch that ball. Every once in a while you may have to lift it up for them so you can get that. The reason why I am coming up like this is I am trying to push all the fluid and all the blood this way up the leg. It does me no good to push it to the toes. So now that I got it wrapped, now I'm going to start to go a little bit tighter with it, get a little bit more compression. These last few layers all that's doing is adding the compression. I've already pushed everything to where I need it to be. Now I'm just trying to get that extra compression. There's no special way you have to do it, just wrap it. So we've got one ankle done. I'll let him just drop that to the ground. Now we're going to move on to the other one, so you guys can see it again. And now you'll get to see how I hook this side of the ankle. Again, I'm going to start right here at the midfoot, coming around. Get a couple good wraps there. Then I'm going to hook around that ankle. And you'll see I'm going to catch right underneath that ball with that first wrap. Come up and across. Get that real good. And now I just start coming down and pulling a little bit tighter. Some people like to crisscross it. Some people just do straight wraps. Again, doesn't matter. These last few layers, that's where I'm just getting my compression on that joint. Here. Just going to tuck that tail. Now, I'm not showing this next process right now because we're not going to leave him on for the full amount of time. But what I'd have him do next, like I said, this is what I like to do before I squat, before I deadlift, is I'd actually have him lay flat on his back and I'd take something like a stability ball or a bench or something and slide to where he could prop his feet up there to where he's got this nice little L-shaped thing going on. What that's going to do is all this blood and fluid that we just pushed out is going to help get it away from that ankle. Because there's a lot of gummy tissue inside there, and we're wanting to get some, what we're going to do is a form of ischemia. I know it's a big crazy word, a lot of you have never heard that before. Basically the easiest way to explain it is ischemia is when we push blood and fluid out of an area, and then as soon as I unwrap it, it's like opening a floodgate. All that blood and fluid is going to rush back in. It's quote unquote new blood and new fluid now, and it's going to help any gummy tissue that's in there, any scar tissue, any possible little nicks and tears, abrasions, things like that that are inside that area. It's going to help heal those quicker. So it's like that area is getting nutrients for the first time again, so it just really speeds up that recovery process. Now, say by some chance he was having a couple small ankle issues, there's a few things that I could do. And it's just going to be taking and pushing his foot and ankle into a natural range of motion. I'm just going to go, and any way that that ankle is supposed to move is how I'm going to move it. So we know that that is a natural movement. Coming down, natural move. Ooh,
got a good pop out of that.
Got a little pop out of that. That's good. So I'm going to just pull, and I do a little scooping technique also. I'll kind of lift and relieve a little bit of pressure, and pull. Then I can go sides. Again, the reason why this is good to do is because what's happened is that joint, say that this is the foot, this is your tibia, those joints sit like this. So what happens is as soon as I put that compression on there, they gap just a little bit. So now I can move it a little bit more freely and get things set back in place the way that they need to be. So I'll go back to bending it to the inside. Now I can go to the outside. Again, I'm just moving it in the ways that ankle is supposed to move naturally. Natural movement is always the best. Back to the inside a little bit more. A couple more ups. And then a couple more down. And then from here, what I'd have him do, after I did both of those, I'd have him prop the feet anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes, is as long as he needs. And then from there, what we would do, just pop the band off. And you'll be able to see here in just a couple seconds, pull the sock down just a little bit, you can already see it happening. See where all this tissue is starting to turn red. That's that ischemia that I was talking about starting to work. So all that blood and all that fluid is rushing back into this area, and you can see now he's moving pretty good.
Much better than it was.
Yeah. And so now what I'd have him do is, once I got the other ankle undone, is I always have everybody get up after I get both ankles unwrapped. I just get up and make them walk. What that's going to do is, however everything is supposed to be set inside that joint, that is going to allow it to set back in naturally. We always want everything to set back natural. Remember, like I said, natural range of motion is always best, so you always want to take that joint to a natural range of motion. Any way that it's supposed to move naturally, that's the way that you want to move it. And then by getting his weight on it, his body is going to allow it to set into place the way that it's supposed to be set. So that's where our prehab, like I said, that's really awesome to do before you squat and before you deadlift. The next thing I'm going to show is something that I like to do a lot of times on my recovery days. I have 1 to 2 days a week that I just come in and I just do recovery work. A lot of band work, I do a lot of compression stuff, do a little bit of active recovery movements as well. And this is one of my favorite ones to do. Instead of using the Spud ink wraps, the best thing that I found for this is an Inzer gripper wrap. The reason why I like them is they got this little rubber banding on the inside that really allows me to get some good compression on an area. The other reason why I like them is because of how wide they are. I can cover a much bigger surface area. And for any of you that use these as your squat wraps, you know that you can really pull on these things. And this one's just a 3 meter, but there's been times that I've pulled on one of these and it felt like I turned it into a 6 meter wrap. So what we're going to do, again, we're going over the ankle. So what I'm going to do, think about this. How many times, and I know this doesn't happen with everyone, but after a really good, hard, max effort squat day, sometimes we'll get a little bit of shin pain, or we'll get a little bit of tightness back here in the calf a little bit. This is going to help alleviate that. So what you're going to do is, whoever is the one getting wrapped, they're going to hold on to the side of the band. You want them to start about mid leg or so. And what they're going to do is they're going to just pull as hard as they can. Go ahead, keep pulling for me, Dale. Pull right there. I'm going to come down. I'm going to holster the foot just like that. Then I'm going to come around and I'm going to catch that ankle. Roll it up just a tad so I can really crank. Now I've got a straight wrap right here. My next wrap, though, this is where it's going to get crazy. I'm going to come at an angle. Then I'm going to angle down. And I'm going to make this really cool little crisscross the whole way up. Just keep going. And I'm going to go as far as this band will let me. Now, a lot of you are probably wondering, why the heck does he have this way up here? I'm going to show you. Dale's going to let go.
It's like magic.
Ta-da. Now, we've got the ankle compressed, where we're pushing all that stuff out. We've got the shin area. We've got the Achilles tendon. And we've got the bottom of the calf, where most people usually get their calf pain. We've got everything pushed out of that area. We're just going to let him sit. And on this one, we don't have to worry about elevating. So I can have him drop. And we'll do the other one. That way you guys get to see me wrap it again from the other side. So I'll have him grab. Remember, you're going to have him pull. Come around, hook that foot. Drop down by the ankle. Come around it really good. I like to get a lot of compression right there on that ankle. Now from here, just going to come up, a little bit of an angle, and then I come down on this next wrap. That way I get that good little crisscross going.
this is something that I've actually, had Justin do. I was deadlifting a couple weeks ago and lost my balance at the top and started drifting over my, over my toes and strained a calf pretty bad. It ended my workout, and I was like, dude, I just screwed up my calf. And he was like, I'll fix it. I was like, yeah, all right, whatever, And then he did this to it, and not, it wasn't an immediate relief, but it felt a whole lot better, that night. I could still walk around, and I did it Friday, and I had to squat heavy again on Monday. It didn't even bother me at all, just because of what he, this stuff he'd been doing.
Once I get them wrapped like this, this one, there's times, again, 5. I've had a few people even go 10 minutes with this one. Just let them sit like this. There's been a couple times that instead of waiting for a recovery day, I've actually had people to where we've done this right after they get done squatting. To where get done squatting, they get their gear off, shoes off, go ahead and wrap them up, let them sit 5-10 minutes, go ahead and pop it off. Never complain about calf issues, shin issues, ankle issues, and stuff like that. One of the most important things I want you guys to take away from all of this today, and I'll reiterate this 1, maybe 2 more times before we're done today, is, in my professional opinion, this stuff has to be taken just as serious as what your training is. For those of you that want to be in this game for as long as you can, this is the stuff that you need to be doing to ensure that. This is what's going to keep you healthy. This is what's going to keep you pushing big weight. But most importantly, to me, it keeps the fun in training. Because who likes to train and who has fun training when they're sore, beat up, injured, so on and so forth. The better you feel when you train, the more fun you have. So this is the easy way to keep that fun in training. We're going to go ahead and pop the wraps off now. And you can see also with these, as soon as I get them off, it won't be as much as what we got on the other wraps, but you can already see we do have some ischemia going on in there that's going to help break up any of that gummy tissue that's around the shin, anything that's back here on the calf, stuff down here by that Achilles tendon. Again, these ankles are really important to take care of. That's the most loaded human joint. So we really want to make sure we're taking care of those. See how quick I can get these rolled while Dale unwraps his other leg. Look at that. Speedy. While he's doing that, I'm going to start to roll the other wraps, and I'm going to start talking about, because we're going to move on to the wrist now. This is really good. If there's any of you watching right now that are coaches, personal trainers, anything of that nature, if you have any clients that complain about possible corporal tunnel issues, I want you to really pay attention to what I'm about to do. I've had a lot of success in the past with clients that have been diagnosed with corporal tunnel issues, and we started doing these compression treatments on them and just going through and spreading and resetting those corporals back into place. And I've actually had quite a few clients over the years that have ended up not having to have the corporal tunnel surgery to fix that problem. Because a lot of times, especially with people that sit at a desk all day, maybe have some kind of secretary job, or just any kind of job where they're entering a lot of data in and they're constantly on a keyboard, when your hands are in this position, moving all the time, those corporals get out of whack really, really easy. Another profession that this is really good for, massage therapist. You guys are really moving and doing weird stuff with your hands, your thumbs, so on and so forth. I know a lot of massage therapists, they get pain right up in here in the palm, the back of the thumb joint, different things of that nature. Start doing this to your hands, especially if that is your profession. You of all people should know you really got to take care of your body by doing these simple little compression techniques on the hand and wrist. That's going to keep you massaging longer. For those of you that have some kind of secretarial job or something where you're always at a keyboard, it's going to just help make you feel better. It's going to take away a lot of hand pain And for corporal tunnel patients, this could possibly keep you from having to have surgery. So really pay attention to this one. It's really easy. I always like to examine a little bit. I'll kind of feel around inside the hand. I'll turn it over. I'll feel around on the outside. I've been doing this long enough. I know how to feel if corporals are out of place. You'll see me bending and moving it so I can see how those corporals move. Pull on the thumb there. Dale's actually got one right here that's kind of out just a little bit. There's a lot of things that could have possibly have caused that. So what we're going to do is it's almost like doing the foot or the ankle. I'm going to have him start with his fingers together. I'm going to start right here on the back of the hand, right at the knuckles. I'm going to come around. Reason why is, just like on that ankle, I'm trying to push all that blood and fluid up the arm to get it out of my way. After that, I'm going to come across. I'm going to come as close to that thumb as I can. Come back around, get a little bit of a crisscross going there. But then I'm going to come right over again. Now I'm going to come. Now I'm getting that wrist joint itself. Now I like to go past the wrist just a tad, and then I'll start working my way back down to get that extra compression. Again, you can if you prefer doing a crisscross method, you can. It's whatever works best for you. This is what's always worked for me, so I keep doing it. Get a couple extra layers of compression there. Then I'm just going to, I always set this up here just to keep it out of my way, because what you're going to see me do now is I'm actually going to start to manipulate the hand and the wrist a little bit. First thing I want to do, let me put it down low to where you can see it. I'm going to take my palm and place right on the back of his hand. I'm going to put my thumb right here on the wrist, same with the other hand, and I'm doing this weird little push and separate thing. I'm trying to fan out those corporals. And I'm actually, one of the things I'm doing, you can't see it because of the way the camera is, but I'm pushing on this thumb. Really just pushing all those around. I'll move my hands around a little bit. Work those. Pull the thumb a little, get it set. Then I can flip over. I'm going to work my fingers now. I'm still spreading now. I'm kind of pushing up with the palm of my hand and just spreading the other way, getting everything to fan out. Now I'm going to start to do a little mobility work on it. Again, natural ranges of motion. Bend the wrist down a couple times. You can get that scoop technique. How I do that is I pull and then I push down. Pull, push down. Pull, push down. Then I can go upward. And I can even go side to side with it. Crank it to the side. You can even get that scooping motion here. You pull. And then I'll go the opposite direction. Start turning in. A little stiff right there. Again, you can get that scoop. Pull, push it over. Pull, push it over. And then I'll just go back. Do this a couple more times. Get a couple more ups. And then the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go through and I'm going to fan it out again. And then we'll go ahead and pop the band off. And you can see instantly, here in a second, everything's going to start turning red. All that new blood, new fluid's going to start rushing in to that area and start that healing process. And you'll see he's got, it's nice and loose now. And that spot got set back in place. So really happy with that.
Yeah, feels much better. I didn't even tell him, but my hands have been hurting like hell for the past, month or so. So I'm happy he's doing this today.
So that's a good rehab one. The next one I'm going to show, we're going to use the Inzer gripper wrap again. This is a really good one, especially that I like to do on people, especially after a good heavy max effort bench day. Because I mean, there's so much stuff that those forearms are working so hard, trying to stabilize, trying to grip and pull that bar apart. Like I said, even just a slight little, tick of the wrist sometimes can get things set out of place while you're benching. So what we're going to do is it's almost going to be the same thing as what we did on the ankle. Sometimes you need a third person for this, just for a split second. But I think Dale's strong enough he can get this one. What they're going to do is just like on the ankle. You're going to have him start there. I'm going to have him fan his hand out for me, and then he's going to pull this and try getting it up here to his shoulder for me. I'm going to pull, pull, pull. I'm going to come down. I'm going to grip right there underneath that thumb and across the hand, and get a good straight wrap right across that wrist. And then just like we did on the ankle and the shin, I'm going to start my crisscross pattern. Up, down, up, coming back up. Once I get up by the elbow, that's where I'm going to go ahead and stop. So I'll come with a straight wrap. Do one more for fun, just to eliminate some of that tail. And then look at that. Now I can tie him off and let him sit. Then I'd go through it, I'd wrap the other hand, and I'd just have him sit there 5-10 minutes. You can still go through, say you wanted to, say they were talking about a little bit of forearm pain up here by the elbow. You can go through, you have to really dig in, and I'm going to dig in, put a little bit of pressure, and just slightly turn the wrist. Really work those areas. Turn it the other way, use my thumb, press on those muscles. Again, I can manipulate the wrist. I've got some compression on it so that joint's opened up. Come back here, get some more turns. What I'm doing is I'm squeezing the forearm as I'm doing this. Help break up some of that gummy tissue. Let him sit 5-10 minutes. Go ahead and pop everything off. And you're done. Don't forget, everybody, it amazes me how many times I come across people that actually forget this. On your bench press, and we've been talking about bench press. We're on our bench press segments right now, so this is a really good, important piece of information for you guys. When we're bench pressing, the primary movers of our bench press, of course, are our chest, triceps. Anytime we push, those are the primary muscles working. Now, our back and our biceps become our secondary muscles. Those are our stabilizers. So, if you remember, part of the bicep does run into the forearm a little bit. So that's why a lot of times after heavy benches, you'll notice that you get some